actually take a chance at Mike Tyson not being able to do what he used to do. Because that's what he's doing. The gamble is, like, there's not a chance in hell that Jake Paul would survive.
Joe Rogan just exposed the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight contract, revealing details that make it sound more like a scripted Netflix drama than a legitimate boxing match, complete with twists fit for a multi-season series.
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, I think that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight.
The real fight wasn't in the ring. It was hidden in a contract thicker than Tyson's legacy. Every jab, duck, and stare down may have been choreographed with the precision of a Broadway musical.
Fighting big money fights and fights, it almost seems like that he's like for sure gonna win to keep his record nice, which is like this last guy was.
How did a 57-year-old Mike Tyson end up trading punches with Jake Paul in the first place? The fight felt less like a sport and more like a high-budget circus. Now, with Rogan's explosive revelations, it seems the whole spectacle was more business deal than boxing match, complete with contracts, performance clauses, and possibly scripted moves.
Of similar ability. Mike Tyson's one of the most gifted fighters ever created. Jake Paul, who knows how good he is? He fought one actual boxer and he lost that fight. We don't know how good he is.
On one side stands Mike Tyson, boxing's most feared heavyweight and a living legend whose name commands respect. On the other, Jake Paul, social media's ultimate disruptor turned boxing's biggest wildcard. When this fight was announced, it didn't just shock boxing fans, it sent the entire internet into a frenzy. How was this even possible?
Jake Paul is fighting Mike Tyson, and I gotta know, you know, like he's a lot younger, he's half his age, and he's training around the clock for the last few years.
People were baffled. Tyson, a man who built his legacy crushing opponents with unmatched ferocity, stepping into the ring with Jake Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer known for turning hate-watching into an art form. It felt like a Hollywood crossover event, and that's where it gets intriguing, because some believe it might actually have been scripted.
Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
Interesting.
Script.
How so? What do you mean by
It's just
script?
weird. It just
Like scripted in what way?
no, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so it's odd.
When whispers of a supposed fight script began circulating, they added a whole new level of chaos. According to the alleged leak, the outcome was predetermined, complete with planned punches, dramatic knockdowns, and a Hollywood-style finale. It sounded too wild to be true, until you looked closer. Joe Rogan, no stranger to combat sports conspiracies, didn't hold back. He dissected the fight with brutal honesty, pointing out moments that felt more like a choreographed action sequence than real boxing. His verdict? If there was a script, they followed it with suspicious precision.
I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so it's odd, bro.
It's a timing.
I mean, it's
fights
obviously odd.
No, he fights two no names, beats them both.
Well,
And
the whole
then-
Jake Paul thing is like,
This wasn't the first time celebrity boxing faced accusations of being more WWE than WBC. Jake Paul's fights have long attracted controversy, with claims of fight fixing and strange contract clauses from past opponents. Tyson, despite his legendary status, isn't new to making business-savvy moves either. Put the two together, and suddenly the idea of a scripted fight doesn't seem so far-fetched. The alleged leak described Jake surviving an early onslaught, staging a dramatic comeback, and Tyson losing gracefully to set up a potential rematch. Conveniently, these moments aligned almost too perfectly with what actually happened. Rogan didn't outright call it a fix, but his jab analysis left many fans questioning what they had just witnessed.
not necessarily Mike Tyson, but it was something like this. Like he'd actually get a fight with like Canelo and just get mobbed. It'd be like, well, of course you lost to Canelo, but get a massive payday. But now it seems like it's this.
Whoa. This one was really random.
Then there's the business angle. Think about it. Tyson and Paul are masters at creating viral moments. This fight wasn't just about bragging rights. It was about money, influence, and media dominance. Why settle for a one-time payday when a perfectly staged rivalry could guarantee a rematch or even a trilogy? Pairing Paul with Tyson wasn't just a fight. It was a calculated business move designed to dominate headlines and shattered pay-per-view records. Still, many hardcore boxing fans despised every second of it. To them, it felt like a circus, a freak show that mocked the sport they love. But even the loudest critics couldn't stop watching. Love him or hate him, Jake Paul knows how to stay relevant, and Tyson's name still carries unmatched weight. Together, their star power created something bigger than boxing. It was sports entertainment on steroids.
Matt always says, play to your strengths.
Yeah,
no
but you know,
doubt.
you got to take that payday. I mean, what did he make out of that fight? He probably made $10 million or something.
Yeah.
This brings us back to Joe Rogan's brutal analysis. His deep dive into the fight wasn't just about calling out suspicious moves. It was about defending the integrity of combat sports. Rogan has spent years breaking down real fights and celebrating authentic warriors. So seeing a fight that looked staged didn't just disappoint him. It challenged everything he stands for. Was it all just a clever marketing stunt, or a legitimate fight that felt too cinematic to be real? Maybe the truth doesn't even matter. Tyson versus Paul wasn't about winning or losing. It was about dominating the cultural conversation. And in that sense, whether scripted or not, they both won. When Jake Paul and Mike Tyson squared off, it wasn't just a fight, it felt like a blockbuster. The bout was packed with almost two perfect moments, leaving fans and experts alike to wonder, was this real boxing or a Hollywood production?
It's not what boxing's about, is it? It's about two fighters of similar ability, training really hard, finding out who the better man is. They're not of similar ability. Mike Tyson's one of the most gifted fighters ever.
Seeing Mike Tyson's loss was heartbreaking for boxing fans. Many never imagined his legacy would be torn apart like this. Jake Paul's resilience also raised eyebrows. His ability to absorb punishment seemed almost superhuman, especially against a puncher like Tyson. Critics noted that Paul, despite limited experience, remained composed under pressure, using defensive tactics far beyond his known skill set. Joe Rogan himself found this suspicious, pointing out moments where Paul's survival seemed unnaturally timed. Rogan broke down the fight in detail, highlighting Tyson's measured pacing and how he seemed to pull his punches at critical moments, giving Paul room to recover and retaliate. This behavior was unusual for Tyson, whose historical fights often ended in the first few rounds. Rogan also questioned Paul's defensive moves, calling them strategically precise and almost rehearsed.
Younger and he can move his feet around. So again, from round one, nothing surprised me so far. Connects with a quick 1-2 combination, timing appears slightly off. His punches a fraction slow.
Things took an even messier turn when Joe Rogan dropped a bombshell about the fight's contract. He claimed to have seen excerpts from what he described as an unprecedented agreement between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. If true, this document contained clauses that could completely alter how fans view the fight. Here's the bombshell that's got everyone talking. According to Rogan, the fight contract for Tyson versus Paul was more Hollywood blockbuster than combat sports. Yes, you read that right. The contract apparently had specific clauses dictating what could and couldn't happen. One of the most shocking details: Tyson supposedly had a no knockout after the 5th round rule. Wait, what? A man who built his career on knocking opponents out faster than you can say Iron Mike was contractually bound to pull his punches.
If Mike Tyson, I think even if he loses, it's like it affects his legacy. But at the same time,
No, not
the
really.
money's so good. It's like
Yeah, but
And here's the twist. Rogan wasn't alone in his suspicions. He pointed to a growing trend in high-profile exhibition bouts, where contracts are designed to maximize entertainment, not necessarily uphold the integrity of the sport. After all, who cares about boxing's purity when millions can be made from a fight that's more spectacle than sport? These deals aren't focused on the art of fighting. They're about who walks away richer, more famous, and with a few extra zeros in their bank account. This isn't about boxing. It's about storytelling. It's the kind of thing that makes you stop and wonder, was this whole thing scripted? But maybe that's just the reality of modern-day sports.
That he was making the money he says he's making. Showtime Boxing wouldn't have gone out of business, and Showtime would have made sure they kept.
Dana White, known for his no-filter opinions, went off in classic Dana style during an interview, scoffing at the idea of fighting an old guy and doubling down on his belief that celebrity boxing is damaging the sport. But let's be real. Jake Paul didn't just stumble into the boxing world by accident. His rise has been as carefully plotted as a Hollywood action script, complete with trash talk, call-outs, and headline-grabbing feuds. But the question remains, is he a real fighter or just the sport's most brilliant manipulator? Jake Paul started as a YouTuber, pulling pranks and making over-the-top vlogs, but somewhere between launching a merch empire, he reinvented himself as a boxer. To everyone's surprise, it worked. His fights became major events, generating millions in pay-per-view revenue and making boxing cool again.
Well, who knows how good he is? He fought one actual boxer and he lost that fight. We don't know how good he is. That's up to him to prove, because he's certainly not doing it last night.
So, is Jake Paul a legitimate boxer, a marketing genius, or a media manipulator? The answer might be all of the above. He's crafted a career where every punch, tweet, and call-out serves one ultimate purpose: keeping the world watching and paying. Love him or hate him, you can't deny the hustle, and in today's fight game, that might just be the real heavyweight title. Here's the big question: should legends like Tyson really risk their legacies for these modern spectacles? Is it worth it? Should the greats hang up their gloves and let the real fighters have their time? And now, for the million-dollar question: what happens next? The Paul Tyson circus has set a fascinating precedent for future celebrity boxing matches. Joe Rogan has already raised the alarm, worried that this could be the beginning of the end for legitimate boxing.